This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Oakland Athletics.
And the pitch is swung on, hit the right field, hit deep. Whitefield going back at the track, over his head, and over the wall. Do you believe that?
And 29 other MLB clubs.
Ramirez with a drive to deep right, away back, goal!
Go Hayes gets a bomb out there by the Rocks. And boy, oh boy, this third inning is now showtime.
It is a Judgian blast. All rise. Here comes the judge.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe, from humidors to spin rates to game-changing moments. We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us next from the town, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to A's Cast Live as we've got another great show for you, getting ready for A's baseball. Who do the Athletics have today? And are we going to get rain?
I haven't heard anything about rain, but we're playing your favorite players' team.
My favorite team?
Your favorite players' team. That'd be the great George Brett and the Kansas City Royals.
Did they win? Did they get rained out yesterday?
Great question. I didn't look to see if they played.
The Kansas City Royals are 14-2. Get to Vegas and put some cash on the Royals.
Yeah, and Bobby Wood Jr. is playing for Team USA, I believe, too. He's not even there.
Don't need him.
Royals.
Hot young talent's overrated. We got who we need there in KC.
14-5, and they lost to the Rangers yesterday, 4-3.
So how are they playing and we got rained out?
I don't know.
How far? I mean, that's my poor Arizona knowledge. How far were we at Ho-Ho-Cam yesterday?
Yes.
How far is Surprise from Ho-Ho-Cam?
Well, they're playing. Is that where the Rangers play? Is that Surprise? They were playing at the Rangers Park, and the Rangers play. Yeah, the Rangers played Surprise. So let's pull up the old Google Maps.
How far is Surprise from Ho-Ho-Cam, where we have a rain out in one spot and no rain and a full game in another? Or maybe we didn't really want to play.
All right, it is from Ho-Ho-Cam to Surprise Stadium. It is, it's 50 miles.
Oh, that's a long way.
So, all right, well, maybe it was raining in Mesa, and it wasn't.
It is the desert. It is a whole different ball game. Gary Brown from the Pirates is going to join us today as we'll talk about the Buccos. And then Johnny D will join us at 12:30 to talk about, going to be interesting of what the catcher. We've talked about a lot of different battles. We really haven't gotten into the catching situation with the Athletics, as Manny Pena is going to see a doctor who performed the surgery on his left wrist. He's got discomfort going on, had surgery last May, missed the rest of the season, and it makes you and that normally not a battle that anybody's really all that concerned about. But backup catcher, and really what that brings into play, I'm not buying it, is he's still there, is Tyler Soderstrom. And he's been catching a lot, obviously. I'm not gonna play into that. Well, does he make the team? Does he make the roster? I mean, this guy is the future of the Oakland Athletics. He is the future probably at first base. He's the future middle of the order player. I'm not looking at him as a backup catcher, nor do I want him here. I'm not, as much as I want to talk about wins and I want to do the A's Clubhouse show. What's the number again? 833-625. Let me finish.
Let's say it's on there.
833-625-2278. That's off the top of my head. Is that correct?
That is correct.
I got to start getting in shape. 833-625-2278. If you call that number now, no one will answer. Well, actually, maybe Robert Costa.
Yeah, Robert might be there because of the game.
You know what? Call Robert Costa, see how he's doing. 833-625-2278. But this year is not the year. Am I out of line here? I'm going to have fun. I think we got some players to watch. And Paul Severino is going to join us tomorrow. We talked to him earlier this morning The name might sound familiar. One of the terrific broadcasters on MLB Network who now does play-by-play for the Marlins. We talked about J.J. Bleday with him and what he thinks as a guy that got to watch him for the, I'm guessing here, 68 to 65 games that Bleday played last year for the Marlins.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that range. It was 60-something. He likes him a lot. So we'll get into that. We got some exciting players to watch. I mean, obviously, Bleday's not going to start with us, but I'm not going to sacrifice the growth of Tyler Soderstrom of playing every single day, getting at bats every single day, so he can be here and we can say, yay, he's here. He's backup catcher and he's going to play a little bit. I mean, Shea Langoliers is going to play every day. Noda's won the job basically at first base. Aguilar's going to DH. You're going to see how that dynamic goes. I want Tyler getting at bats every single day, playing every single day for the great Fran Reardon down in Las Vegas.
Leader of men.
And when the time comes for Tyler to take the job and he comes up and never goes down again. That to me, if David Force calls me, which he does all the time, it's amazing. I mean, David Force calls me constantly. It's like, David, I'm golfing. I mean, really? Can't you guys build this roster on your own? So, but when he calls me, I'm going to be like, this is what I would do. What's the point of having Tyler as he can catch and play some first? And I want him playing every day, hitting third down at AAA. And when you think he is ready to play every day, you clear the deck and say, kid, this is your show. Take it from here. I'm not having Tyler sit the bench and be a backup catcher. That's just to me, that would not be smart, as our friend Brian Kinney says on MLB Now, when I can't wait for it to come back. GMing. That wouldn't be smart GMing to me. Taking your number one prize guy and have him sit more than he plays at the big league level versus playing every day at AAA. Also news, we got major break. Do you have the breaking news sounder? We're not going to go to that right now, but just have it ready.
Yeah, I'll have it ready.
Paul Blackburn, another thing. Paul Blackburn now has a fingernail problem.
This is news to me. I saw Martine's piece on athletics.com, and according to him, it says here, Blackburn played light catch on March 14th with no issue, but he's still nowhere close to being able to grip a baseball to throw a pitch per manager Mark Kotze. Unable to throw pitches until the nail, what do you call it, avulsion? What do you call it when something with your fingernail? Yeah, AVULSION. On his right middle finger fully heals. The 2022 All-Star, who was the favorite to make the opening day start for Oakland on March 30th versus the Angels, will likely not be ready to start the season. So that's troubling. I didn't know he had I know he's working on throwing the changeup a lot more to right-handers this spring training, but I mean, a fingernail issue, this is news to me.
I put in efflusion, and you know what came up? And I don't even know if that's how you pronounce it. You know what it came up? Efflusion fracture. That's of the foot.
Okay. Losing a toenail or fingernail because of an injury is called avulsion. The nail may be completely or partially torn off after trauma to the area.
I've had an efflusion of my right big toe. A teammate of mine, I was wearing turfs. Turfs are the shoes that you wear that were created for AstroTurf. And of course, pitchers, we would wear those because we'd run in them and everything. Stepped and his spike went right through my shoe, and the nail of my big toe split in the middle. And we could play this game someday if we had callers, where you have stories where you end the story with, and there was blood everywhere. Everybody has a story like that, right? Oh, I was out when I was a kid and I was riding my bike and my buddy flipped over the handlebars and he hit his face and his teeth. And then you know what? There was blood everywhere. We could do a segment like that. It's a fun little segment to play on talk radio. Yeah, my whole shoe had to go to the doctor. They had to remove the nail. It was so, yeah, that's painful. That is definitely painful. I started having issues with my nails, and then I started putting collagen in my coffee every day, and my nails have been solid ever since. So I come on, man, a nail?
Well, it was a finger last year.
But that was like a real injury.
Yeah, and then this is a fingernail thing that, as Martine put on athletics.com,
Fingernail?
will likely not be ready to start the regular season. This was last updated yesterday.
Well, does there go your 6-man rotation?
Maybe it still is a 6-man rotation. Someone just takes Blackbird's spot.
All right, that's not good, but you know what? That is really not. We're burying the lead today. Breaking news. Live from the ABC Sports Desk in New York, I'm Chris Townsend. 10 minutes before this show started, I was sitting right here. You were not here. I was here. And CBSSports.com sent out to all of our phones. They were the first to have it. Edwin Diaz, injury update. Mets closer likely out. God, I hate the pop-ups. Likely out for the 2023 MLB season after hurting knee during WBC celebration. The Mets will likely be without their closer. Billy Epler, the GM of the Mets, friend of the program, announced Thursday that Diaz suffered a patellar tendon injury in his right knee during the celebration. Will have surgery on Thursday, and the recovery timeline is generally 8 months. How long is the baseball season?
Let's see. We won't count March. There's only one game for us. So April, May, June, July, August, September. 6. 5. 6 is about 6 with playoffs. So yeah.
Well, the timeline for recovery is 8.
So he'll be ready in December.
He'll be ready for next spring training. Ladies and gentlemen, can you raise your glass, please? Raise your glass and say, you know what? The WBC, it was great to have you. But the WBC, pour one out for my friends, as they like to say, it is all over. The WBC will never, ever, ever be the same. Edwin Diaz, everybody's fear that having elite players playing games that really don't matter, that this is a made-up event for Major League Baseball. I've been all for it. It's great for growing the game internationally. It's great to have baseball going. What we think is meaningful games. I was watching it last night. I was even watching. Where were you? You were probably sleeping. I was scouting Australia, Cuba last night from the Tokyo Dome.
No, I wasn't watching. I watched the U.S. game, and then I had to go celebrate a birthday.
I was watching it. I watched a little bit of the Captain America, Mike Trout. Yeah, this is the fear. And when I say this kills the WBCS, the WBC, I just mixed the WBCS.
And what do you think, college football?
I know.
NCAA tournament started this morning.
Georgia's on my mind. Yeah, congratulations. Hey, happy March Madness, baby. Sorry, I was watching, I was watching
Maryland and WVU. That was the first game.
West Virginia to the average folk.
Yeah, and then Virginia and Furman are playing right now.
Is Virginia going to gag again?
Please don't. I'm a sucker for them in the tournament every year. The great Tony Bennett.
Oh, you're a big college basketball guy?
Well, I like Tony Bennett, their coach, former Washington
Not
State
the
coach.
singer?
No, not him. He's fine.
You're talking about a guy just signed a 5-year, $102 million contract on a team that's like World Series or bust. Anybody? Is it me? Mets. Mets have been talking a big game. Mets are like the Padres. They've been talking a big game. Mets are World Series or bust. Here they were leading their division last year through the majority of the year. Oh, just wait till we get DeGrom and Scherzer healthy. Well, they got DeGrom and Scherzer healthy, went down to Atlanta and got swept. And the Braves took the division. Then they got to host the Padres. And they got beat 2 straight games in their home yard with DeGrom and with Scherzer. Now this offseason, Steve Cohen, Uncle Steve, he's got all this money. We're just going to outspend everybody. They don't care about the luxury tax. You're now going into, because this guy, I mean, obviously what he did last year, and that there's a reason why he got all those Cy Young votes, because Timmy Trumpet, and he came out and he was electric. He's gone. He's gone for the year. Your ace closer is gone for the year. A's fans, 1989. How would you feel? Dennis Eckersley is out for the year because of a WBC game. This is the worst fear Major League Baseball owners had. Like, they were like, okay, Rob. I don't know, was this Rob's idea?
No, because it started in like 06. So when Selig was still in office.
All right, bud. All right, baseball. All right, New York. How about that? How about New York?
Manhattan.
Madison Avenue. You guys want to start this? We'll play along. We'll try. Well, we won't discourage our top players from going. We'll kind of sit back and cringe while it's going on. Owners do not care. I mean, the owners like the game growing internationally. They like the money that they get. But how do you think Steve Cohen feels right now? That he upped, a lot of people say don't pay big money for closers. He just paid $102 million, and his closer is out for the year. I'm telling you right now, what's this, every 4 years?
I think it's every 3. It's supposed to be every 3.
Because of COVID?
Yeah.
Every 3 years, you're now, it's going to be minor league players. You're going to have, and you wonder why all these top pitchers don't want to play in it. It's death to the WBC. And it's not even in the championship game. It's not even in the field of play. It's celebrating. And not that we're going to put these guys in bubble wrap. I mean, you can get hurt at any point. I understand that. But at least if you're getting hurt playing for me, and in training camp, you're playing for me. This is an injury of a celebration. This is going to go down. Kendrys Morales changing his career after that grand slam that was on a Saturday on the Fox Game of the Week, jumping on home plate. Aubrey Huff blew out his knee, jumping over the railing for a celebration with the Giants. I mean, but whatever. You just lost your closer for the year, and he wasn't even with you. He was at this quarterfinals game. This will give everybody reason to say, yeah, I don't want you going. Hey, you want to take our minor leaguers? Great. Like Jordan Diaz, our guy, made the last out against the United States yesterday. It's great experience for him. That's who this will be for. This will be for these guys. That's what the WBC will become. It'll become lesser players. I mean, there's already some of these teams you have no idea who these guys are. But yeah, the star players, especially pitchers. Yeah, it'll be dramatically different, and this will be what they use. It'll be, hey, you don't want to be Edwin Diaz. I don't want you to be Edwin Diaz. I mean, look at somebody like Clayton Kershaw. Couldn't even get the insurance to play in this thing. The insurance was so expensive. Baseball didn't want to pay it, and he didn't want to pay it. You're not going to spend millions of dollars on insurance. I mean, that's what supposedly it was. It was a lot of money to insure his contract. Obviously, he's pitched a long time. There's a lot going on, that arm, that shoulder, and that elbow. But you're not going to pay that kind of money for that kind of insurance to pitch just 2 times or whatever it would be. Now what's the insurance going to be? Now that you have someone, you have the insurance in case something like this happens. How about the insurer now will have to pay the insurance on, I don't know exactly how that works. I'm not in the insurance business, but Edwin Diaz, if he's making $20 million a year, or what is he making? What's the average annual value of this year?
Let's see.
What's he made? What are they going to have to insure for this year? What are the Mets going to get? Like the Mets care.
$17.25 million, according to what I found.
$17 million.
That's his base salary plus a $2.4 million salary or signing bonus. So, saying his payroll salary is like 19.6.
You think an insurance company's thrilled about that?
Most likely not.
No. Death to the WBC, as you know it. Trying like desperately to get the best players to play, and I talked to a future Hall of Famer in Max Scherzer. I mean, I can just see it now. Get my guy Tim Kirchin back to Port St. Lucie or where the hell are they train?
He's in Arizona right now.
But where do they train? Where the Mets train?
I think that's right.
I talked to a future Hall of Famer. Yeah. So go talk to that future Hall of Famer. Max Scherzer's going to say, told you so.
Oh, remember, he wanted it done during the All-Star break or in the middle of the season when that's even worse, I think, to have guys go.
I just, it's foolish. It's like getting hurt at the Pro Bowl, right? It's like a guy getting hurt. That's why they don't go full go in the All-Star game in the NBA and hockey. And it's like, hey, let's just kind of, because it's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's that these games are just, I mean, if I was a Mets fan, I'm crushed today. If this was us, let's just say we had what's their payroll at?
The Mets?
265. I
think it's higher than that.
It's not 300.
I can look it up.
Whatever their payroll is and the expectations of the New York Mets.
Apparently, according to COTS, they have roughly $364 million committed to the payroll for 2023. And that's including with the luxury tax stuff included.
Oh, my God. Hey, good news. More breaking news coming from The Athletic. Good news. Umpires' inspections of pitchers' hands and fingers will be more frequent and thorough this year.
Oh.
Great news. Great news.
I saw a thing earlier, too, that the umpires can now see what the replay people are doing back in New York via Zoom. So they're going to have like iPads on the field.
So are they going to be able to tell us what they're looking at?
I think it still comes down to the guy in replay chair makes the decision in New York.
You know what somebody needs to, and actually I have a buddy who's a former police captain, big time A's fan, who they've created this like hand x-ray thing that they can x-ray and see exactly what you got in your pockets and everything. So it's like whether you could use that at a ball game, at the airport or whatever. They have this new thing that they've patent pending. And I mean, wouldn't it be nice if we just had something that put your hands out? I like an app or something, put your hands so people can see it. And I could just go like this. All right, there's nothing on your hands.
Yeah.
Instead of me feeling you and touching your hair, I could just do the app and I could be like, all right, you're good. Or, like in the movies, like you put something or like a CSI thing and all of a sudden there's a weird light blue thing on your hands.
Oh, you're talking about the what do they call that? Black light?
Yeah.
The people use
CSI, yeah. There's that weird, wait a minute, we got some body fluid here.
There's residue.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. We got, that's what we need. We need every up to have like some type of device where you can just scan your hand, scan your jersey, scan you and see, nope, you're clean. I mean, the fact that we're hey, Musgrove, you look a little sweaty here. I mean, but man, I feel for Edwin Diaz. I mean, that's bad for our game, right? Timmy Trumpet, the New York City. I mean, Queens, place going nuts. Here comes Timmy Trumpet. Yeah, we're the excitement. Mr. and Mrs. Met are playing the trumpet. I mean, it's a show. We're in the entertainment business. And the Mets are supposed to be one of the good teams in baseball, and you just took their closer away. That's brutal. Once again, think if that was us. Think if we were a powerhouse, we had all this money, and all of a sudden our closer just got hurt in the WBC. Do you know how pissed we would be? We wouldn't be like, well, you could get hurt anywhere else. We would not be that. We as A's fans would be angry. We would be angry. Why was he even playing in this? This is ridiculous. It's a stupid exhibition. That's what we would be saying. That's fact.
Yeah. And you mentioned the part about how, I've seen the only people I've heard say so far that it could happen anytime. As they asked Trout and Mookie Betts about it last night.
That's
after the game.
stupid. Well, I could get hurt doing anything. All right. Okay. I want you to save that. Can you save that for me?
What, that audio?
Yeah.
I have it, yeah.
Yeah. I want you to save that. And then in 3 years when no one's playing in it, I want you to go back and replay that and tell me how that ages. Save it. Save it. Tell me how many big-time contract guys will be playing in the WBC 3 years from now.
Can't imagine it'll be many.
Save that. Save that audio. Let's see how it ages. Put it in the old vault.
Mark the. No, you can't mark the tape. I already have it cut.
It's like putting a piece of meat, let it age for 24 days. Let's let that thing age. By the way, Maestro's, by the way, Valley Fair. Maestro's is a real fancy, nice steakhouse. All steakhouses are, for the most part, fancy, but this is a nice one. They've got a few places around the country. Do they have one in the city? I think they have one in San Francisco. I'd eaten in the one in LA and Beverly Hills, which is beautiful. They're now in Valley Fair. The place is legit. And I also figured out something. I just can't take it down 33 ounces of beef.
I heard you telling Paul that.
I can't. It's the Chef's Choice bone-in ribeye. Chef's Choice bone-in ribeye. I can go get it. I still have the buy. I mean, it was like this big. It was with the big bone, of course, bone in. I can go get it. I still have like that much and the bone. I mean, it's like I had no chance with all the appetizers because the wife wants. Well, let's get some tuna and let's get. I mean, then I had lobster bisque, and then by the time the steak came out, I'm like, oh wow, I got no shot at that. 33 ounces. How many pounds is that?
See. For how many ounces? It's about 2 pounds.
Yeah. Like I was going to take down 2 pounds of prime ribeye in one sitting. There's not a chance anymore. I don't have that in me.
That would have been tough. That would have been tough to pull off.
Yeah. I just don't. So it was a great birthday dinner, but yeah, I'm at a point to have to realize that because you still owe me a steak dinner for saying that no pitcher would throw 200 innings last year. And my man, Sandy Alcantara, did that easily for me in 6 or 7 other guys.
I was going to say he did easily for you about 6 or 7 starts, and that's what it felt like.
Yeah. Sandy Alcantara is not a 5 and dive guy, thank God. Do we got Gary early?
Greg, yeah.
Greg, do we have Greg early?
Yeah.
Well, let's bring him on. Greg, how are you?
Hey, it's Gary, guys.
Yeah, that was Gary.
No, he's missing.
Hey, so how is it down there in Pittsburgh?
It's doing. We're enjoying. I'm actually here watching. Believe it or not, we play the Yankees in Tampa tonight, and I'm not doing the game, so I decided to swing by, which I rarely do, the ballpark, just to see if anything's going on. And I happened to catch some infield drills going on, which is kind of cool up here in the broadcast area. So I'm enjoying it. Weather's great as always.
It's always interesting with the Yankees too, because we'll see those games on MLB Network at night. Because here in Arizona, nobody plays at night, but the Yankees will play at night. Some of the teams in Florida, just how different is that in spring training, where a night game in spring training, that's so odd for us.
We are playing for the first time ever, and I haven't asked anybody. We're playing 5 games under the lights this spring. Normally, there's always one game here at Lecom where the Pirates play, the former McKechnie Field. There's always one night game, but for whatever reason, they've decided to put not just the Pirates annual night game, but I think they play 2 in Sarasota, and this will be the second in Tampa under the lights. I think the players like it. It breaks things up, and it's more like the regular season.
Yeah.
That
makes sense. And I think it's actually, when you talk about getting players ready to have games on television, to have games on night. Yeah, that makes sense. Definitely when you're starting to get ready. So, I mean, for the Bucks, raise the Jolly Roger. We love the call. we want to hear a lot of it and see a lot of it. And of course, my producer is such a huge Pirate fan. How do you see the Pirates going so far this spring? I know they got to score more runs. A lot of teams, the A's were in the same boat.
Well, you're right, Chris, and I know your producer is a great Bucko fan, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate that you and he and the guys are having me on here. In terms of how things are going this spring, you asked the question, and I honestly will answer it for you. It's been a disappointment for me. I know it's just spring training, and wins and losses for the most part are meaningless, but it's been a disappointment, and they have less than 2 weeks to get their act together, to be blunt. And I think that's one of the reasons why they're out here working hard. The outfield play has been less than stellar, to be kind. They have dropped fly balls. Now, every year, Andy Van Slyke, the longtime Pirate All-Star and Gold Glover, when he was with the Pirates, he always used to say that this state and this ballpark in particular, the hardest places to play defense, center field, were here in Florida, and in particular, this former McKechnie Field, now called Lecom, for a variety of reasons. The wind plays havoc, the way the sun shines in the sky, the clear skies oftentimes cloudless. And this year is the worst I can recall. I've been doing this a long, long time. This is the worst spring training I've seen for Pirate outfielders.
Wow. And Andy Van Slyke was as good as it gets going to get it. Yeah. Some people, it's funny. A lot of people say Oakland is one of the toughest skies. And I always go, well, how's the sky different in Oakland than anywhere else? Like, how is the sky different in Florida than it is anywhere else? It's always funny when people can't find fly balls out there. It's like, well, why is it different here versus everywhere else? I mean, the sky looks the same.
I don't get it. I don't know whether it's because the way the ballpark is designed, where the diamond is actually situated, and that's a different look at the sun, at the sky, maybe. Yeah, I don't know why that is, and I don't think Van Slyke or anybody else has truly defined why this place is such a difficult place. But I do know, regardless of how difficult it is, they better start catching the ball, because you alluded to this. The Pirates are, much like Oakland, a team that just cannot, you're not going to out hit guys, you're not going to out bop them. The only way you're going to win games is to try to outpitch your opponent and scratch runs the way you can, but you've got to play good defense. It's the only shot you have.
What's going to happen with Reynolds?
I think that he, at the very least, is going to be here through the first half of the season. And my guess is that they will continue to talk, his agent and the Pirates, about trying to keep him here. And if something doesn't get done, I think they would probably, around the deadline, they would start to entertain offers for him. That's my guess. His situation is exactly like the JT Realmuto situation before he went to Philadelphia. Realmuto is represented by the same agent. Realmuto had 3 years left with the Marlins, just like Brian Reynolds. Realmuto had the best year of his career to that point with the Marlins, which turned out to be his final year. And then he was traded after the season to the Philadelphia Phillies. So my guess is that they'll try and get something done, some kind of an extension, hope to work it out. And if not, I think they'll start to entertain offers.
Yeah, that's tough, because he is a special player, and you want to keep guys that have been around who know how to play to help the O'Neill Cruz guys learn how to play baseball and start winning in Pittsburgh again. Because that, the thing for me is that I know there's been long stretches, the 20 years and everything, but I still grew up with the We Are Family Pirates. I think of the great tradition of Pittsburgh. I think of the great tradition with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I just think of Pittsburgh as a winning town. It's just tough to think about another tough season, and when are the young players, when is a rebuild going to start to pay off?
Well, you're right. It's a great sports town. It's not unlike almost every city in the country. I've said this for a long time, Chris. I actually did Bills football during their Super Bowl runs, and I tell people in Pittsburgh, I spent a lot of my adult life in Pittsburgh, and it's almost blasphemous to tell them that Pittsburgh is a winner's town. It's as good a baseball town as any in the country. It's as good a football town as any in the country.
Hockey, yeah.
But you have to, hockey. You have to win. I think that the Penguins are starting to experience that a little bit. You're seeing a lot of empty seats now. People are starting to realize their run may be over. I've been to Steeler games where if they feel like they're not in it, there are a lot of empty seats. It's all about winning. It always has been. And when the Pirates were winning in 13, 14, and 15, they filled PNC Park. So it's it's all about winning. And Bob Nutting, the owner of the Pirates, said when spring training kicked off about a month ago that he doesn't want to really, and I'm paraphrasing, doesn't really want to talk about rebuild anymore. The time to start winning more games is now. The general manager, Ben Cherington, has said as much. So there is some pressure now, I think, on some of the people involved in running the Pirates this year. I don't think anybody has a grand illusion of trying to win a division. I think that's silly talk right now, this year anyway. But it's not silly to suggest that they should, certainly avoid 100 losses again. They've lost 100 games 2 straight years. And if you count the asterisk season of 2020, though I really discount the season entirely, and I always say without disrespecting the Dodgers and the Tampa Bay Rays, to me 2020 was a nothing burger. It really didn't happen. It was a 60-game season. But if you're one who believes that it counts, then the Pirates, if you extrapolate the 60 games, they would have lost 100 in 2020. So bottom line is they can't lose 100 games again. They've got to start winning more games. Now, they won only 62 last year, so it would be a modest step forward, but a step forward nonetheless if they were to go, say, win 70 to 75. That would be a step forward. You're talking about the rebuild, starting to see some of the younger players graduate, get to the big leagues. We saw O'Neal Cruz make his major league debut last year. Saw Mitch Keller take a big step in the rotation. Starting to see other players. Roansy Contreras was part of the rotation and should be this year, and some others as they kind of, again, take that step forward. My hunch is that the opportunity to go to postseason play and maybe get involved in a pennant chase would be sometime next year. But that doesn't discount this year and can't throw it away. You've got to start winning more games this year.
I mean, if you told us after only winning 60 games last year, if you told us 75 wins, we'd take it right now with the A's. That would be absolutely huge progress. I think Key Bryant signed the extension. You got McCutcheon coming back in to make good. Van Troy comes in. But let's talk about Andrew McCutcheon. I mean, he was the favorite. He was the MVP. He was the star. He was in the All-Star game. He represented Pirates baseball. How fired up? I know this is the last hurrah, but how fired up are Pirate fans to have him back?
Well, he said when we had the press conference at PNC Park to reintroduce him to a sold-out audience in the press conference room at PNC Park, that this was not his farewell tour. He said he's not here to be a PR guy for the Pirates. He said, I'm here to try and win. I'm not done. It's not one and done. And bottom line is, Chris, it was a feel-good story. It still is. A lot of buzz in Pittsburgh. It was really a rarity, and I tried to look back in Pittsburgh sports history. I don't know that there's anything like it. And it's rare in sports that a guy who accomplished what he did his first 9 years in an organization, went away, not on his own accord. He was traded and spent 5 years away. And then he contacts the owner of the team to come back, which McCutcheon did. Someone suggested that maybe Ken Griffey Jr., when he went back to Seattle at the end of his career, is something similar. Now, I'm not saying McCutcheon is Albert Pujols, but obviously recently Pujols did decide to go back to St. Louis for one last hurrah. But Pujols also left on his own accord as a free agent, and I think that soured the taste of many Cardinal fans when he left. McCutcheon never did that. He left because of a trade, didn't want to go, makes his home in Pittsburgh. He's just beloved, and he's one of the, it's not hyperbole to suggest that he's one of the all-time great Pittsburgh Pirates in team history. And here he is coming back for at least another year, and hopefully he helped lead the team to the promised land in 13, 14, 15. And I think maybe there's enough left on and certainly off the field to help lead the way maybe to another renaissance for this team.
And when you say it's super important to have some veteran leadership, you want enough room for the young guys to be able to play and learn, but somebody has to help teach them, whether it's on the field and even off the field. These guys need help learning to become big leaguers, and bringing him back, boy, does he help that process.
I think so. And I think, having guys like Rich Hill, a veteran, in part of the rotation, Carlos Santana, the first baseman, Austin Hedges, a catcher. All these guys have a lot of experience. They've got a lot of postseason experience. And these young guys, they do need at least an example in that clubhouse. I'll give you an example. I won't name names, but last year, spring training, early on here, I walked into the clubhouse and there was loud music on, which, most clubhouses have. And I was struck by it because it was still early in spring training. And, once the regular season starts, you, of course, have music in the clubhouse. But I wondered who was the DJ. And I asked somebody, and I found out that it was someone in the organization, a player who had not sniffed the big leagues. And so here's someone that's determining what is being played in a major league clubhouse who has not even sniffed the big leagues, that AAA, let alone. And I thought to myself, this is not right. There are still some things that in our society that I think are kind of proper protocol. And I think that's still one of them. You have to have a little veteran status, and that's just a very tiny, small example. But that nobody's fault. It's just that there's nobody kind of lead. Nobody had a track record, a resume, and now they've brought in a handful, including McCutcheon, who will kind of let guys know which way to walk. If you're a rookie, or even guys that have had some experience. There's just a proper way to go about your business professionally. I think it serves a team well in any sport to kind of know the pecking order and still have fun, because I get blowback from people. You're the old man that get off my lawn, baloney. I hear that, but I'm also the one that believes that there's still something to be said about tradition and knowing history and knowing your place at the dining room table. And I think that those veterans will do that for the younger players.
I mean, there is no question. I know normally we don't talk about, we're going to find out who's the DJ of the group, but the reality is somebody's got to set the rules. Somebody has to be the adult at the table. And if you don't have that guy, like even last year, we were terrible last year, but there's a reason why we had Stephen Vogt here. Stephen Vogt was the guy that was, okay, this is how it's supposed to be. And Stephen Vogt talked to guys not only about baseball, he talked about finances. He talked about how to dress, how to act. I mean, that plays into how do we go from being young, dumb, and not good to getting better in our careers and becoming successful and winning at this level. There's a process to it, and you need veteran guys, and it's good that Pittsburgh's going to have a few of those guys. We're going to be rooting for you. I need to ask you, going back, people need to know that, not only did you do AAA games for the Pirates back in Buffalo, but you were part of the Bills broadcast. How happy are you for their success once again? And a new stadium is going to be coming for them and the great fans of the Buffalo Bills.
Well, I'm thrilled for them. I still stay in touch with some people in the organization. I still they hold a very dear, important place in my heart. Even though I'm a Pittsburgher, really. When all is said and done, I love the Bills story, and it's been tough going really since those Super Bowl runs, and it's great to see them now turn the corner. And what my hope is, and I talked to Bills fans, and maybe that's kind of creeping into my mindset, the fear that that we've seen kind of the best. I hope that's not the case. I hope they still stay the course. So I don't want any coaching changes. I don't want any personnel changes because that's what made the Bills great. I tell people, and I believe this, that people at the Pirates, that I think great organizations stay the course. Maybe going back, Chris, to that point about tradition and knowing your place, knowing what works and what doesn't. Teams that are constantly changing personnel are constantly just spinning their wheels, and they're normally not winning. But teams that have stability in their ownership, like the Steelers, the Rooney family have owned the Steelers for 70 years or whatever it is, and they've stuck, with Bill Cowher, Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and now Mike Tomlin, and they stay the course. And that's what I want the Bills to do, because after when I left, the team was going downhill after Ralph Wilson sold the team and Bill Polian left and Marv Levy was gone. I think they started spinning their wheels. I feel like they're back again, and I want them to stay the course and stabilize this franchise, keep going, and I look forward to hopefully seeing them in the Super Bowl again soon.
You mentioned a name that I love. I got to do a lot of shows with Bill Polian. He's a great man. And, by the way, at the AT&T this year out of Pebble Beach, Josh Allen was there. I had to look it up. I mean, he's huge, 6'5", 40. But I got to tell you, it was hilarious out at Pebble Beach and Spyglass, two of the greatest courses in the world, watching a bunch of people in Buffalo Bills jerseys, the Bills Mafia at Pebble Beach was absolutely hilarious.
Were there any card tables out and about? Folding chip tables? No? That would have been great.
No one was.
That'd be great if they set that up along the outer edge of the greens. Would have been great. Somebody makes a putt, jump up, boom. That would have been great.
Bills Mafia taking.
Bills Mafia is the best.
Oh, it was incredible. Well, my friend, we always love having you on. And, of course, when you raise the Jolly Roger, we play it all the time here on the A's Radio Network and on A's Cast Live. So hopefully you win a lot of games and we can play the call. Be well there in Florida, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks for having me on.
Take care. One of the great calls in baseball. Raise the Jolly Roger.
Haven't really heard that a lot in the last couple of years, but yeah, it's a great call.
They're not going to be very good.
I agree with him, though. I think if you can win somewhere in the 70 range.
I mean, we take that.
Yeah.
We were 60 and 102.
Yeah. Okay. So this is only the second time in Oakland history the A's lost 100 games. The Pirates have done it back-to-back years.
So you're trying. So if he said 75.
Yeah.
That's a 15-win improvement for us.
Yeah. And that's for them, that's 13. They won 62 and 100 last year.
I mean, Vegas has us at 59.5 or 60 wins.
Yeah, I think it's when we last looked, the other day was like 59.
I mean, that would be monstrous. That would be a dramatic change. If we win 75 games, I'm going to be selling it like it's a playoff year.
And you've watched what both teams have done this offseason. They brought, as we talked about with Greg, they brought in a lot of veterans. The A's brought in Aletmus Diaz, Jace Peterson, Jesus Aguilar. The Pirates brought in Carlos Santana, G-Man Choi.
I always like
Hill.
G-Man Choi. G-Man Choi, he's not a comfortable AB.
No, I'm still surprised the Rays moved on from him, but he's there. Obviously, Andrew McCutcheon being back is great for Pittsburgh.
All right, let's go over. Let's see where my guy Kutch. They don't have his numbers.
He wasn't. I mean, he had a down. He wasn't very good last year.
Let's just see Andrew McCutcheon.
He'll play a lot in the outfield. Him, Reynolds, and Jack Sawinski. Sawinski had a good rookie year. A lot of
actually, the old magazine wasn't so high on him.
He went back to the minors to fix his. He
posted a high strikeouts.
Yeah,
a lot of strikeouts.
A lot of power though.
Yeah, we know where that gets you.
Yeah, Pittsburgh. They've seen. There's a lot of guys just like with the A's. McCutcheon wasn't good last year.
McCutcheon, at least he had 17 home runs. His OPS was only 700. His OPS plus was?
Under 100. So 90, I'll say 98.
99.
Oh, he's almost league average.
If you're not 100, you're not even average. All right. Is Kutch, can we look at Kutch as a Hall of Famer? I'm saying
no. Hall of very good. Now, Pirates Hall of Fame, absolutely. He's one of the greatest Pirates of all time. For what he did,
he just has 1,000 RBIs.
For what he did, though, to bring them from 20 years of losing to relevancy for 3 years in a row, where they were. I mean, in 2015 they won 98 games, and they'll have to play in the wild card game against the team that won 97 games. They were unbelievable those 3 years with him and Garrett Cole, Starling Marte.
Yeah. I mean, he's had a great career, made a lot of money. Good for him. Been an MVP.
It's funny, it's full circle now for them. He got traded for Brian Reynolds. Now they're both probably going to play in the same Pirates outfield this year for, I don't know, maybe 80 games until Reynolds probably gets traded.
Well, and that right there is what's wrong with our sport is you just don't – there's a lot of teams out there, a lot. As I mentioned, I don't know who I mentioned this with. I'm like, there's 11 teams spending under $100 million.
Yeah, they're one of them.
It's almost half your sport is like flipping the bird to Madison Avenue and the commissioner. And these teams are not keeping their players. And that's not good for the sport. And here you have a guy like Brian Reynolds. I mean, we're talking about Brian Reynolds. I mean, it's not like we're talking about Willie Stargell.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not talking about Dave Parker, Roberto Clemente. I mean, we're talking about they can't keep Brian Reynolds. Is Brian Reynolds like he's like Bill Madlock? He's not even Andy Van Slyke or Bobby Bonilla, and I'm not even going to mention your guy Barry Bonds. But you think of great Pirate players, and you can't keep Brian Reynolds?
Yeah, he was apparently offered like a 6-year deal for $80 million, and he wanted way more than that. Which fine, that's your right as a player. But
let's go over the greatness of Brian Reynolds. If you're like, I mean, there's been a lot of talk that they can't keep him, right?
Yeah, that's because
he's not Barry Bonds. When the Pirates couldn't keep Barry Bonds, Bonds had not 1, not 2, but 3 MVPs at the time, and that was tied for the most with Mike Schmidt, Yogi Berra, and who else had won 3 MVPs? That was the most all time. It was Schmidt, Berra, Joe D, maybe.
I'll look it up.
May's only won 2. I think Ted Williams only won 2. But Bonds was tied for the most ever when he was leaving Pittsburgh. Brian Reynolds, a guy, the most home runs he's ever hit is 27. The most runs he's ever driven in is 90.
Mickey Mantle.
Who?
Mickey Mantle.
Who's he?
He had a good year. Roy Campanella.
Yeah, there you go.
Stan the Man. You got
who?
You got Joe D.
Joe D. Jimmy Fox.
Double X. So yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that.
That's who Bonds was tied for when Pittsburgh wasn't big enough for him. Okay, Brian Reynolds, the biggest year he's had in homers is 27.
That was last year, right?
Yeah, the biggest RBI year is 90.
That was the year before.
Most best average 302. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but good player. Best he's ever done in the MVP balloting is 11th.
That was 2 years ago.
You can't keep this guy?
Yeah, former Vandy guy. So the thing with him is...
And he's going to be 28, so he's in his prime. But, I mean, it's not talking like he's made one All-Star team.
Think about it this way. They were able to keep McCutchen back when they were good, 13, 14.
Oh, and by the way, if you wanted to say, well, you can't look at his numbers because he got robbed from the COVID year. He stunk in the COVID year. You know what his OPS was in the COVID year?
Probably under 700.
632.
That's not good.
In a 60-game season, he was a non-factor.
They won 19 games that year, I believe.
He had a $189 in 55 games.
Yeah, they won 19 games. It was either 18 or 19.
89. So you can't keep a guy who in the COVID year hit a $189, didn't even hit his weight. That's where baseball's got a problem.
And by the way, we love their manager, Derek Shelton.
Derek Shelton's great.
Yeah, he was great in San Diego.
Derek Shelton looks like if you put like a cowboy hat on him and cowboy gear, he could be in a cowboy movie, doesn't he?
Yes.
He looked like he could be walking up there.
I don't want to.
Derek Shelton.
I'm waiting to get him. I'm waiting to get him when we play the Pirates in Pittsburgh. I'll make sure we get him while we're there.
And you're going to be there, right?
Yeah, it's a great honor. Our boss Delaire is letting me travel.
What?
Well, I'm going to be traveling.
He doesn't allow me to do anything.
So, I'm still working. So
I don't get to go on work. I'm stuck every day grinding it. Delaire doesn't. He's on he's got his thumb on me, and you get to go to PNC Park.
I'll still be working. We'll be
drinking beers, going to the game.
Whoa! I already said what happens. We'll do A's Cast from there. And then once I get off the air, I'm putting my O'Neill Cruz jersey on and go sit in the stands.
You really have an O'Neal?
Yeah, I got it last year. It's the first Pirates jersey I bought since Nate McLouth.
I don't know why anybody buys jerseys with people's names on it. I mean, unless your guy's got unless you're Trey Turner, who booted that ball at the end of the last night's game that gave Jordan Diaz that chip. By the way, Jordan Diaz, that at bat was awful. That last at bat against Presley was awful. It's like, I know, heat of the moment and everything, but I mean, he wasn't close.
Turner booed the ball early in the game too.
But unless you got, like, if you've got Trout, Betts,
Judge,
now Turner, Judge, I guess you could say Xander Bogaerts,
Harper.
Manny Machado, Bryce Harper. Who are these guys with the really long deals? I mean, you got to have a long deal for me to buy a jersey.
Julio Rodriguez.
Well, aren't there opt-outs in that one?
Yeah, but he'll be there.
No, there's no guarantees. I want none. If I'm buying a jersey, I want the Bryce Harper 13 years, no trade.
Nolan Arenado.
How many years are left in that?
Well, he passed up the
the best one for a fan. There's no question. I don't know about
Nando.
I don't know about Trout's contract. I don't know what's in there. All I know is this: the best contract for a fan in baseball is who? No question. It's no question. It's the best contract for a fan.
For a fan?
Yeah, for a fan.
I feel like it's not an obvious.
It's not. No, it's a total obvious. It's standing right in front of you. He's been mentioned today. You mentioned him.
I mentioned him?
Yeah, he is.
Judge?
Nope. It's Bryce Harper.
Oh.
Bryce Harper said, I want to be here, and I want the longest deal possible. So as a Phillies fan, for good, for bad, for the worst, you got him for 13 years. There's no opt-outs. There's no trade. He said, I want to be here, and I want to finish my career. You know that unless at the end they can dump him somewhere else, which probably won't happen because no one's going to want to pick up the money, Bryce Harper is your guy for 13 years.
And those,
look at like Manny Machado signed the exact same year he did, right?
And he already signed another extension.
And he had an opt-out. There's no opt-out. Bryce Harper did not want an opt-out, and he wanted no trade. I'm committing to spend the rest of my career here. It was the best contract for a fan. Now, if he stinks, whatever. But, we hear all the time, we don't have jerseys we can buy. You can buy a Bryce Harper jersey. He is going to be there.
It pains me to say this, but I would totally buy Bryce Harper powder blue Phillies. I mean, that jersey.
I would buy, if I could buy any Phillies jersey, because I've been in their team store there. What is it? Citizens Bank
Park, yeah.
I've been there. And in there, they got a great merch store. What are they, clubhouse store, whatever the hell they call it. It's awesome. It's 2 stories. I would buy me a Mike Schmidt powder blue jersey.
It's a good one.
Mike Schmidt's got the Mike Schmidt. Who are the statues outside?
Schmidt, Carlton. How many are out there?
I only took pictures with Schmidt and Carlton.
Those are the first 2 I think.
So
Chase Elliott doesn't have one yet.
Pat Burrell, Pat the Bat didn't get one.
I'm sure Hembo's beating the drum to get a Chase Utley statue built.
Think of the great Phillies. Vaughn Hayes does not have one.
Let's just look it up.
Pete Rose.
He could be one.
No, he doesn't have one. I think there's only 2.
Of course, when you Google statues, it doesn't tell you. That's why.
Who's got the stats? Statues are a big deal.
Mike Schmidt. That's one.
It's Carlton and Schmidt.
I think those are only 2, yeah.
I'd buy me a powder.
20.
Jimmy Rollins. He wants a statue.
Rollins wants a statue. Come on. Wait,
read the room.
Does Robert Roberts have a statue? No, I don't know. But we know those 2 for sure.
I would buy me a powder blue Mike Schmidt. That's who I'd be rocking. Mike Schmidt is the greatest third baseman of all time.
I don't argue with that one.
I don't know how could you? The Gold Gloves, led the National League in home runs, I believe, 7 times. and he was awesome. Mike Schmidt was awesome.
And the Phillies do it the right way with him, too. He does every Sunday home game, I believe, on their TV broadcast. Like, that's awesome.
Oh, my God. If you're a Phillies fan and Mike Schmidt shows up, he's Mike Schmidt. He's the greatest third baseman of all time. Yeah, I love that. I love the idea of like, and I wish we had that where you have like one designated great Hall of Fame guy where Ricky shows up every Sunday just to hang out.
I was going to say
Sundays with brunch with Ricky.
I would say the obvious one that would be easy because of being from the area, not aside from Ricky, being from the area and actually working as a broadcaster, Eck would be awesome.
Eck's retiring.
I know. Well, he's done now.
How about Stu?
Stu too, yeah. Well, I mean, Stu's already doing TV. Yeah, you can slide him right in on Sundays.
Do Stu Sundays, breakfast with Stu, brunch with Stu, something like that.
Stu Sundays is a great alliteration. There you go.
All right, that's it. I love the idea with Eck, but X.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
I think he's
X 72.
No, he can't be. He's that old.
Yeah. Remember he and Dwayne Kuiper? We always talk about Glenn playing golf with his brother and Eck. They came up together.
Eck is 68.
He's 68. How old's Dwayne? Dwayne's got to be 70.
Yeah,
right?
Dwayne's over 70. I'm pretty sure. Who Dwayne Kuiper his only home run off of?
Steve Stone.
There you go. Kuiper's gonna be 72. He'll be 73 in June.
Wow. Dwayne Kuiper, greatness in the broadcast booth. I mean, he is. Dwayne Kuiper would be in that conversation of greatest player turned broadcaster, play-by-play guy.
Yeah.
He'd be in that group. I mean, obviously the king is going to be in Milwaukee.
Well, yes.
Nobody is going to be like Bob Uecker.
When he talks about his career too, I remember listening to some of their broadcasts during the COVID year, and it was just so great listening to him talk about his stories, like going into the clubhouse and all this stuff and like being a player. It's Bob Uecker.
Yeah. I mean, the guy was on Johnny Carson all the time. I mean, because he's hilarious and he's Bob Uecker. I mean, Johnny Carson was the number one show on television, and he was going. There was a picture the other day of I don't know, I might not send it to you. I can find it because I sent it to other people. It was a picture of Bob Uecker talking to Henry Aaron.
Yeah, you sent it to me.
Did I say it?
Yeah.
Bob Uecker is in a white shirt, white pants, white loafers, all white outfit from got to be like the 70s.
Just after Memorial Day, but before
I mean,
Labor Day.
it was a thing of beauty. Like no one could pull that off. Big collar, slacks are all white, head to toe, and those old white loafers with like the little silver, strap on top of it. Oh, it was gorgeous.
Oh boy, sorry. Update: 13 Furman takes on Virginia.
Virginia is the biggest gag team.
Good thing I changed my bracket.
I mean, remember Virginia's number one, and they went down early. They're terrible.
But one thing before, and then we can move off and do our 5 up, 5 down on teams and get into our Mariners thing. When you talk about when we're talking about teams when they're winning or losing and how we did this yesterday with the attendance, when the Pirates opened PNC Park, the first year they got almost 2.5 million fans, and then it never got anywhere close. When they started winning again, 2.1, 2.2, 2.4, 2.5, and then so winning will bring fans in, and that's what they need to get back to because their attendance last year was 1.2, and that's a beautiful ballpark. So winning helps. Pittsburgh is a very good example of if you win, they'll come. If you stink, they're not going to be there. Clearly, 2021 they had 859,000 fans there. We're talking about a stadium that's 20 years old that people, absolutely adore. And it's just the way it is. But I'm excited to get into the 5 up, 5 down.
Yeah. So we are going, before we get to Johnny D, we are going to do a list. Who's coming up? Who's going down in baseball? I'm going to tell you the A's are not on the list.
Either list.
You know why? I think A's fans, you have to realize this, is that a lot of times they're trying to get clicks, and we're not getting you clicks.
For sure. Yeah, I get it.
So it's like A's, just realize it is. We were one of the best teams in baseball in 12, 13, 14. Record says it, and then look at 18, 19, 20, and it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
It is what it is.
We're never going to get that attention.
Like, the Angels are always going to get attention, even though the Angels stink. They're going to get attention because they have Trout and they have Ohtani. That's just the way it is.
Well, shade thrown to Anthony Rendon.
Who? He still plays? You're going to try and sell? Oh, we'll have to save that for who's up, who's down. I think Anthony Rendon is a part of it. We'll have it next for you right here on A's Cast Live.
It's that time of the year. Single game tickets are now on sale for the 2023 season. Don't miss out on securing your tickets for some of the biggest matchups, fireworks, drone shows, giveaways, and more. Visit athletics.com/tickets to get yours now. That's athletics.com/tickets.
This is Chris Townsend, and if you're looking for a great place to eat and watch games, go see my friends at the Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek. The Chicken Pie Shop is one of the hottest restaurants in Walnut Creek. You're not going to find a better menu, and come try their world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 86 years. Spacious indoor and outdoor dining, perfect for your next private party or corporate event. Don't forget free parking. For more information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
Johnny Gomes was on A's Cast Live and discussed why the A's team from 2012 was so special.
Well, unfortunately, it's probably one of the best seasons that's going to get lost, right? And when I say that, it also impacts the 2 World Series that I won. And this whole thing is about finishing the season with a win. But my gosh, I mean, the one thing that sticks out to me really is getting eliminated in Game 5 by Detroit. And the Detroit Tigers tipped their hats to us. They literally, Miguel Cabrera, Verlander, Leland were just like, that was unbelievable. 162 games. We were in first place for 4 innings. Just so happened to be game 162 from the 6th inning when Josh Hamilton dropped that ball. We took the lead, technically first place, boom, right there. But I mean, man, look at the guys that team generated. Here comes Stephen Vogt. Here comes Reddick. Here comes Moss. Right? Coco Crispin back. Here comes Cespedes, right? There were so many pieces there. Brandon Inge found a little piece of gas in there. Steven Drew came over and was a vet. Donaldson, Travis Blackley, McCarthy, Bart Colon. You know, he got pop tested. If we would have had him, I think we would have got to the next one, tell you the truth.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
Chevron with Techron has unbeatable engine cleaning power, and it gives you unbeatable mileage for all kinds of unbeatable destinations. Like time in the sun at the beach, or time in the sun riding roller coasters, or a day in the sun hiking mountains. Well, probably just one mountain would be enough for a day, but hiking a mountain is still an unbeatable choice for how to spend time. Download the Chevron app now to get unbeatable mileage at locations near you.
This is Chris Townsend for my favorite golf course in the Bay Area, Cinnabar Hills Golf Club. Tucked in the beautiful hills of San Jose, Cinnabar Hills offers the finest 27 holes of championship golf in Silicon Valley. Come see the amazing new renovated clubhouse and restaurant, plus patio dining with the most breathtaking views. Cinnabar Hills is far more than a golf course, one of the premier places in the Bay Area to host weddings and any type of events. There's no golf experience like Cinnabar Hills Golf Club. Go to CinnabarHills.com. That's CinnabarHills.com.
Like sports, business is about winning. Championship decisions are business decisions based on what it takes to help your company win. And that's why there's UBO Business Services, specializing in helping you win every day by streamlining workflows, managing documents, and providing the best-in-class office technology. Make your championship decision with UBO Business Services. Visit them at ubeo.com. That's ubeo.com.
If you're looking for the latest green and gold gear for the 2023 season, then look no further than athletics.com/shop for your officially licensed gear. That's athletics.com/shop.
Innovation is at the core of Cal State East Bay, like at our Green Biome Institute, where faculty and students preserve genetic information from California's endangered plants, or how we open doors for local entrepreneurs at our Small Business Development Center. From educators to nurses to STEM professionals, Cal State East Bay has real impact throughout the region's neighborhoods, boardrooms, and the entire economy. Be part of the innovation. Connect with Cal State East Bay at csueastbay.edu/impact.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is the #1 brand of online mattresses and the Bay Area's favorite mattress store. Take home the Easy Breather pillow. The New York Times calls it their #1 pick. You can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and Gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland and you get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
Streaming from the East Bay, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
I've lost my list. You have it on here, right?
Yeah, the links for both of them are on there. The 5 risers and 5 decliners. Spoiler, there are 4 teams in the ALS mentioned in these articles. As we mentioned, not one of them are the A's, but the other 4 teams in the division are on there.
Yeah, it is pretty typical. By the way, if you're just joining us, where do you have it here?
There's
I
step
have
back.
improve. I'm in the improve category because I'm a positive guy. You, Johnny Negative. If you are just joining us, really bad news. Edwin Diaz out for the year. Celebration yesterday for his team in the WBC and hurt his knee, surgery. It's going to take about 8 months to recover. He's having surgery next Thursday. They say it's not today. They're not having surgery by today.
I'll have to look. Passan's tweet didn't have it. His says that he tore the patellar tendon in his right knee and he will need surgery and expected to miss the season. So I can look up and see when they have Edwin Diaz's surgery.
I know. I was read it to you earlier on the CBS thing. It's going to be. They said Thursday.
Unless it's. I mean, today is Thursday.
We'll have surgery Thursday. Today is Thursday, but there's no way you don't hurt it last night and have surgery by today, right?
I mean, it depends on how the swelling. I guess the swelling would be.
And everything. But so where were they playing?
Yeah, Edwin Diaz will undergo surgery this afternoon to repair.
Wow.
They were playing in Miami.
Okay.
Big upset over the Dominican Republic team that had your guy Juan Soto, Manny Machado. It's a pretty stacked Dominican team, and they got taken down.
Have they ever won it?
That's a good question. I
Japan,
don't think so.
Japan's won it. The United States has won it.
Yeah. The favorite this year, I believe, is Venezuela to win it. Oh, Japan's pretty good. They won again today. They haven't lost yet. They eliminated Team Italy this morning.
Well,
come on. I mean,
they have an espresso machine in their dugout.
That's all you need to know. It's all you need to know.
I mean, they're pulling stuff like, hey, the guy's wife's Italian. All right, you can be on the team. It's kind of ridiculous.
Mike Piazza managed them. Future manager in Major League Baseball?
No.
Future Mets manager?
No. After his soccer team debacle, have you ever read about that?
No.
How his soccer team, he had this great legendary soccer team, and they kind of destroyed it, and he just left town. Oh, yeah. It's The Athletic did a whole thing on it. I mean, don't quote me. I mean, it was years ago that I read this, but yeah. Mike Piazza and his beautiful wife, I can't remember what she was into. She was a part of it. It went bad. They left in the middle. Put it this way, it was one of those Baltimore Colts leave in the middle of the night type deal.
That was
read about that and tell me what you think, because I remember it was like, wow, this is shady.
That was Irsay's. Is that Irsay's dad that did that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a long time ago. The Mayflower Moving Company.
It's a great 30 for 30.
All right, Johnny D is going to join us in 15 minutes. All right.
Know your Royals.
Oh, we're doing Know Your Royals?
It's pretty easy.
Frank White on there? You got to have George Brett on there.
Brett is on there.
Frank White?
No. Told you I kept it very easy.
Balboni?
Nope.
Quisenberry?
No.
Saberhagen?
Yeah, Saberhagen's one of them.
Okay. Trying to think. Oh, guy I saw at the Gordon, is he on there? I saw him at the Masters last year.
Alex Gordon?
Alex Gordon was I saw him on the 18th hole.
No, but he is a lifetime Royal.
By the way,
Nebraska.
Alex Gordon was walking around the Masters and nobody knew. You know, that's when you talk about, oh, hey, man, this guy's a star player. This guy's been in the All-Star game.
World Series champion.
Yeah, walked around Augusta National, one of the most popular sporting events in the world. This guy supposedly, these big leaguers, we kiss these guys' butt. I'm telling you right now, there are very few players that can walk around and people know who they are. Here's Eric Gordon.
Alex.
Alex Gordon.
Then we're thinking of all these basketball players.
Alex Gordon, World Series champion, played in back-to-back World Series.
Very good player. One of the Royals' best players of all time.
Number 1 pick.
Out of Nebraska.
Walking around a golf tournament with thousands of people, sports fans, right? Nobody knew he was except me. I said to my buddy, hey, look. No one knew.
Did your buddy know? Was that the great Dean? The
Dean Matson, who's all he does is watch MLB Network.
Dean didn't know who Alex Gordon was. I'm gonna have to bring that up next time I see him.
Then I'm like, hey, look, it's Alex Gordon. Nobody knew. It just goes to show none of these guys are worth the money. People don't know who they are. Do you know how many guys stay at the St. Francis Hotel in San Francisco, Union Square?
I know a lot of basketball teams do.
Most teams do. They walk around, nobody knows who they are. I'm going to tell you right now, I was in the hotel. My hotel that I was recently in had WBC guys in it, not from the United States. They had some. I had no idea who they were. Like, how many guys in Major League Baseball literally walk down the street and people know who they are? Aaron Judge, no question.
Maybe Ohtani. I would say
I would say Shohei Ohtani. I bet he walks down the street most places. No one knows who the hell he is.
It's tough to say Harper or Trout. Harper maybe. Trout, I don't know. I mean, Trout.
Trout looks like a regular dude.
When I heard Trout speak from the WBC, that's the first time I heard him talking forever.
I mean, he's a regular dude. That's what I'm saying. Mookie Betts is a star. Mookie Betts walks down the street. Nobody knows.
He was just here like 2 months ago at a bowling event, and half people didn't even know he was here.
They're not stars. Tom Brady ate at Maestro's at everybody knew supposedly. He walked in and everybody knows it's Tom Brady.
But
that's what a star is.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers. Everyone's going to know who Aaron Rodgers is.
I mean, that's when we talk about what is a star, who makes money. We have a bunch of guys in baseball who make hundreds of millions. They're multimillionaires. They make all this money. And it's like, and Scott Boras, it's just a reality. Scott Boras and everybody talks about, oh, they need their piece of the pie. It's like we're paying guys who are not stars, but we're paying them like stars. They can walk down the street and no one gives a you-know-what who they are. They don't know. A star is somebody, a guy who makes $30 million a year. When he walks down the street, everybody should go, oh, my God, that's so-and-so. We got to get my phone. I want an autograph. That's who a star is.
I'll throw a name out for you who's on this list.
Derek Jeter walks down the street. People know who he is.
A-Rod, too. I'll throw a name out for you. And he's a part of a team that's on this list. Anthony Rendon makes 30-something. Nobody knows who he is.
Nobody. He could walk around Pebble Beach at a golf tournament and nobody knows who he is.
Do people even know who he is in Anaheim?
That's what I'm saying. Like, if we look at all these guys who are making a ton of money and you have no clue who they are. Juan Soto. Everybody's acting like this guy's already got a plaque in Cooperstown. He could walk down the street and no one has a clue. They're not stars.
No.
But we pay them like they're Elvis Presley.
No, he can walk down the street next.
We pay these guys like they're Beyonce or Rihanna, and they're not Beyonce or Rihanna. Beyonce walks down the street, I know who she is. I can guarantee you, 99% of baseball players making all this money walk down the street, no one knows who they are.
It's a fair assessment. I agree with you.
About
NBA, completely different story. I mean, the six man people recognize.
They're freaks. Doesn't count. They stand out because of size. I mean, majority of NFL guys, no one knows who they are. But baseball players are paid differently. Baseball players are guaranteed money. They're making huge cash. Guys walk down the street. Walker Buehler looks like a regular guy like everybody else. They all, I mean, they're not, there's nothing special about them. There really isn't. I mean, really in sports, like Michael Jordan walks down the street, everybody knows who he is. Michael Jordan puts butts in the seats. Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Steph Curry, people are watching NBA. The rest of them, as Charles Barkley said, they're a bunch of bums.
Bums. We're paying bums and
plumbers and what do you call them? And plumbers make very good money. But Charles Barkley, it's like They're a bunch of nobodies.
Yeah,
They're a bunch of nobodies.
Like that they're paying $100 or $200 million.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. They don't. I get that you think the players because they're the product, but we're paying guys because we have to, when we really shouldn't have to. All right, top 5 teams that are on the decline. Who am I?
All right, so here we go. So it's our negative. All right, well, we'll start with the team that we have a bet for.
We have a Mexican food dinner bet. I say regression of the Seattle Mariners. They will not make the playoffs.
ESPN has them 5th on the list. There's obviously 5 teams. They're 5th. They were 90-72 last year. Pacoda has them going 83-79.
83? Oh, I'm loving my chances already.
And they added a bunch of, they've added people in the offseason. They signed Julio Rodriguez. You're going to have a full year of Luis Castillo, Robbie Ray.
Jared Kelnick. This is the year.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
By the way, Hembo was on Buster's podcast yesterday. I listened to him. He thinks that every team, he put the AL West as like the 4th toughest division or something. And he said that like every team is going to win like an average of 80 games, except for like the Astros. So pretty much like the Mariners, Angels, Rangers. Tim Kirkson thinks they're a playoff team. I'm with Tim Kirkson. I think the Mariners are a playoff team. I think they're going to do it again.
But the great thing about it is I may be the only person you've ever worked with that calls you on your stuff. And I make you bet on it. And you owe a steak dinner. You could be owing another dinner at the end of the season.
Well, that's fine.
Maybe more.
That's fine. I stand by this. I think the Mariners are too good not to make the postseason.
Mariners are not going to be in the postseason, even with the expanded.
I just need them to get in. They don't have to win. Just get in.
Fact. You just need that. You
just need the 14 other teams to not make to let them get in.
You just need them to participate in one playoff game, and I owe you dinner.
Yeah,
By the way, you're running out of time. When are you taking me to dinner?
I thought you said. I mentioned we'll do it one of the 2 days before the season starts. Was that the 28th or 29th?
Yeah.
So Tuesday, Wednesday, we're not going to be working.
I need a little break from steakhouses, by the way.
Yeah, so that's why I said we'll do it then.
33 ounces of beef, 2 pounds. I can't sit there and eat 2 pounds. All right, number 2.
This is 4th on the list. They're going to regress a little bit, but the Astros.
This is kind of a Captain Obvious, though, right?
Thank
you, Captain Obvious.
They won 106 games last year. They lost Verlander. They lost Gurriel. Pacoda has them at 95 wins.
So if they win 105, they've regressed.
They're still going to win the division, so they're still going to be a playoff team.
They won 106 last year.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Remember the year that them and the Dodgers did they win 107 and then the Dodgers won 106?
So that's the Giants and Dodgers. The Astros were good that year too.
No, there was a year where the Astros and the Dodgers, but they were both 107 and 106. Yeah, I know the Giants.
It might have been 2019 then.
So if I won 106 games and I now win 101, I did not have the same year.
Regression to the
fact.
By the way, Kyle Tucker, according to a lot of people, had a breakout year. He only hit 30 home runs back-to-back years. So, breakout candidate this year. St. Louis Cardinals coming on the list.
Ooh, the Redbirds.
The team
I disagree with this.
Team you said will win the division.
They are going to win the division.
I still think it's going to be Milwaukee. They won 93 games last year. Pacoda has them at 86 wins.
Wow.
They have the Brewers at 87.
I'll take the over on that.
Number 2, I can't believe they're actually writing this. I can't believe this is in the article.
This is called clickbait.
The New York Yankees, who won 99 games last year, Pacoda has them at 97 wins.
There's not a doormat in their division. Even though we're playing less division games, there's not a doormat.
No.
I mean, if you look at the AL East, and we're talking about Red Sox, Blue Jays could win the World Series.
Yep.
Tampa is always in it, and Baltimore's better. You're not beating Baltimore 18 times, or 17, 16 times.
Yeah, you can play them 13. That's the crazy thing about Baltimore too. I know they're not even on either list. Everyone's saying Baltimore's going to win 73 games. How are they 10 games worse than they were last year? Because they didn't add anybody. They have all these young guys coming up.
Yeah,
just add them in.
That's
true.
Always play.
But I mean, they did. I mean, it's not like they didn't do. I mean, they didn't really do much.
They didn't do
anything.
anything.
They traded for Cole Irvin and they signed Kyle Gibson.
There could be regret. Because what happens? Young players come up, have success, and then the next year, what happens? Well, it's a tough league, man.
And there's a lot of pressure on Adley Rushman this year. A lot of pressure. Gunnar Henderson's going on the team, and Grayson Rodriguez, and they got like 8 other guys. They got Matt Holiday's son who's coming up.
So all you prospect geeks, no offense, but all you prospect geeks think that these guys are all going to like come in and just dominate, and when they don't, you just go, "Wow, I can't believe that." I mean, Jared Kelnick is a great example of everybody had him as a superstar player for the Mariners.
Yeah.
And he's still trying to figure it out.
Well, no, this could be the year.
Look at J.J. Bleday.
Yeah.
We're banking on J.J. Bleday, whose numbers were not good. But, I mean, looking at him and watching him, I mean, he looks like he could be a baller. But it's like you just don't know, especially when a guy like Julio Rodriguez. Am I going to be shocked if he doesn't have the same numbers? No.
I heard someone, I think it was Xavier Scruggs, mentioned he thinks he could be a 40-40 guy this year. That's a lot of, I mean, I mentioned him too, but that's his home runs and stolen base have to climb by double digits each for him to get there.
And this is why people like me bet dinner bets, because when people say outrageous stuff, you've got to call them on it. Because the odds are I'm going to win.
The odds are in your favor. I'm still taking the Mariners. Last one before we get to your improved, before John E.D. 111 wins last year.
Oh, yeah.
95 this year, according to Pacoda. That'd be the Los Angeles Dodgers.
That is super fair.
I mean, the
Dodgers could win 90. I mean, Dodgers could not be good.
I mean, what did Hembo tell us? They're still going to win the division by at least 10 games. If they win 90, so the Padres are only going to win 80?
Padres are not as together. I've learned not as together as everybody thinks they are.
It's fair.
But yeah, you won 111 games. You had a historic year. Yeah, you could see. I mean, you win 90 games. Let's say they win 90 games and still win the division. You win 90 games, and the year before you won 111. That is a huge drop off.
It's like a couple years we talked about with the Giants. They won 107, won 81 and 81 last year.
All right, teams that are on the come. They're on the up and up here. We're going to start with the Twinkies, the Minnesota Twins, who went 78 and 84. But good news, Carlos Correa is sticking around.
They added Pablo Lopez, too.
Pablo Lopez was traded from the Marlins. We'll talk about that tomorrow. And you got to think, this is a team.
I was going to ask you over under 100 games played by Byron Buxton this year.
I'll take the over.
Ooh. Yeah,
I only need 101.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he's over. This is year he stays healthy.
Number 4, the Texas Rangers. They won 68 games last year. They have them jumping to 79.
How many starts?
DeGrom, Eovaldi, Heaney, Perez is back, who people didn't think was going to be back.
John Gray, 3 of those guys just threw a bullpen session for the first time. DeGrom, John Gray, and Eovaldi.
DeGrom has thrown in a game. That's all you need to know.
Minor league game, but he threw in a game.
Threw in a game. You're ready to – let's see. The Rangers' payroll will climb from $160.5 million to $21.5 million. How about that? Is that insane? Huge payroll jump for them. I got to tell you, I'm not buying it.
Yeah, no. I mean, then again, if they just won 69 games, they're better than last year.
I mean, you're projecting them to be under 500, and they're spending $225 million, $221 million to be under 500. Is that a big deal?
I mean, yeah.
In a bad way.
Yes, that's what I mean.
You jump from 160 to 221, and you're still not 500.
That's very bad.
That is very
bad.
You're
You're just spending money irresponsibly.
Number 3
team we both like
is a team that I'm touting. It's my National League West team. My Snakes, my D-backs. Torey Lovello, great leader of men. 74 wins last year, projected for 74 wins this year, but I'm not buying it. Ton of athleticism. I think the Rockies, because of speed and not afraid to run, the new rules are going to play for them. The Arizona Diamondbacks will win more than 74 games.
I agree.
And they are a team on the rise.
Corbin Carroll signed that extension.
Remember, last year after the All-Star break, they stole, I want to say it was 68 bases, but they stole at a clip of 80.2% success rate, which Himbo said, If you look at the numbers, if you're stealing over 75%, it's worth it. They were stealing at an 80% clip. That is huge. Number 2 on the list, and we just previewed them. How about the Cubbies? Cubbies have signed a lot of different dudes. Swanson, Tyon, Bellinger, Boxberger, Fulmer, Mancini, Hosmer's there. 74 wins last year, an improvement. Picoto's got him at 76. But biggest difference, and this is something that Jesse Rogers kind of poo-pooed from ESPN, but I disagree with. If you pick up the ball, you throw the ball, and you play defense, and you don't give up outs, people got to realize it's simple. You got to get 27 outs. How do you get 27 outs with your pitchers and your defense? You improve on defensive runs saved, run prevention, immediately increases your win total. I don't care if you don't have a MVP candidate. I don't care if you have a Cy Young candidate. If you get better at preventing runs as a team as a whole, that's with your pitching and your fielders, you immediately will get better. You will win more games than you did the year before. It's fundamentals. If you're better fundamentally, you will be a better team. And that is what the Cubs are going to be. Do they hit more? Do they pitch more? I don't know. But they're going to be way better defensively because they were atrocious. And this article says, it's been a study, that you see all teams that improve, especially by 10 games in a season, what's the one constant all of them have?
Better on defense.
Okay, it's not, well, they had X amount of this pitching or X amount of this. The one constant that every team that goes from a 10-game increase in wins from year to year, every team gets better defensively. It's in the data, even though you don't believe in data. And number 1, where is it? Where is the rally monkey? Number 1 team to increase in baseball. The Angels haven't finished in last place of their division since 1999. The Angels are now tied with the Tigers for the longest playoff drought. In fact, Los Angeles hasn't even finished above 500 since 2015.
How many playoff wins does Mike Trout have?
0. Well, he's an Eagles fan. You talking about going to Eagles games?
True. He's won more games than WBC.
Are you talking about WC Mike Trout or Angels Mike Trout?
Angels Mike Trout.
They have signed big free agents, and of course, who comes in here? They're going to throw in Renfroe, Urshela, Drury, those guys showing up. But Rendon, a healthy Rendon. Phil Nevin has said, "Hey, Rendon looks good." Rendon is doing Rendon-like things in their training camp. I have no idea what the hell that means.
Over under 120 games for him.
120. I'll take the under.
Yeah, I think I'll take that too. There'll be some bicep injury coming
Who's going to pitch?
Besides Ohtani?
Heaney? That's your guy?
There was an article yesterday. Reed Detmer's aiming for 20 wins. Okay. I mean, he's a decent pitcher, but
all right. So the teams that they have improving and not going over their Pacoda, but there's reasoning why they like them. It's the Twins, the Rangers, the Snakes, the Cubbies, and the Angels again. The Angels again, who haven't finished over 500 since 2015. It's a joke, an absolute joke. Get Johnny in here. Johnny, are you buying this Angels stuff again? They do this every single year to us. Every single year, they find a way to tell me how Trout and Ohtani and all this kind of garbage, and they haven't finished over 500 since 2015. What were you doing in 2015, the last time the Angels were 500?
2015, I was in Sacramento. I just met my now wife. So yeah, it was a good big year, but the Angels still, they got to remember, you got to have pitching. That's one thing you always tell the Angels, right? Like every year they have all, the Rendones, you say the Trouts, Ohtani, everything, and Ohtani can pitch, of course, but they just haven't had the pitching through the year. So they think this is the year, but you're right. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but everybody's saying the Angels are so improved. We'll see how it turns out.
What was the losing streak? Was it 17 games last year that they lost in a row early?
The one that got Madden fired was somewhere around there, yeah, because Madden got fired.
All right, so for some reason, people don't follow West Coast baseball. You're going to understand that, Johnny, really this year. Like, the East Coast people say some stuff and you just go, yeah, you guys have no idea. So all this stuff about Ohtani's the MVP and all this stuff about Trout, and you're like, you guys do realize they had the longest losing streak ever in their franchise history. They went from first place to done, got Joe Madden fired. In that time, Ohtani stunk as a two-way player, the greatness. He stunk as a hitter and a pitcher during that time. Trout stunk during that time, and they got their manager fired. And all of a sudden, at the end of the year, Trout hit a bunch of home runs, hit 44. Ohtani was doing what he was doing. And if everybody forgot about how they sunk their battleship at the beginning of the year, and now they're talking about these guys being MVP candidates, and you're like, does everybody forget the losing streak that got the great Joe Madden fired?
I hear you, Tony, but look, I can't get on that anti-Ohtani bandwagon. I mean, here's guys, top three players, top three hitters, top three pitchers. I mean, look, I don't care. Do you think a guy can be an MVP for a last place team? I mean, what Ohtani does is something we will never see again. People understand that we will never see what he does.
What does that matter when you lose 17? He's taking up two positions, and he stunk. He stunk the whole time they played bad, and they got knocked out of the playoffs. So you're going to tell me in the last 2 months when they're 20 games out, oh, my God. I mean, that's great. But, you know what? I got to tell you, I think it's great. Yes, the unicorn thing, that guy, you're going to sell it and everybody's selling it. That's great. I'm in the business of winning and losing. I'm not in the business of people's tradition. I'm not in the business of what's your legacy. We're in a win-loss business. Baseball gets too romantic. Oh, we've never seen this before. That's great, but they haven't finished 500 since 2015. And last year, remember, Johnny, they were in first place and then lost all those games, but everybody seemed to forget that. We didn't.
I understand. So do you think Andre Dawson did not deserve the MVP because he was on a last place Cubs team? I mean, what do you think? Do you have to lead your team to the playoffs to be an MVP? I mean,
I think if you're putting up stats on a last place team, you get what we get now. It's called the Hank Aaron Award. What value do you have? What's your value on a last place team?
I hear you. I don't know, bro. To me,
let's take another sport. I love using other sports. If you go out and average the most points on a basketball team, that you're in last place, but you have the highest average because everybody on your team stinks and they just feed you the basketball and you shoot more than anybody else. But at the end of the year, you're now averaging 31 points a game. No one else is close to you. Are you the MVP?
Yeah, I hear you on that. No, I do hear what you're saying. I don't know, man. I can't get on that anti-Ohtani thing, man. I can't get on.
Trust me, we're out on an island on this, and I get it. I understand. First of all, if you pitch every 6 days,
yeah.
I mean, because what happens is, and I've broken this down, maybe I'll do this with you. When you start using numbers to fight numbers, when you actually look at the percentage of what a DH plays in, you got to remember a DH only participates in 2 out of the 9 innings a game because you're not playing defense. You're only there as a hitter. So really, when you start to look at the percentage of what you participate in, and as a starter, you're only going once every 6 days, you start to realize the volume isn't as great as you think it is. Now, to me, Ohtani's great value is how much money he makes you. He's a human ATM for an organization. I think he's worth every penny because of what he makes you. But when you look at the volume of what a player gives you, how much does he participate? It's like Jacob deGrom. If Jacob deGrom's going 5 innings every 5 days, he's participating in 12% a week. That's not that big for a team.
Yeah, with Ohtani though, man, I'm telling you, you get if they finally get some pitching, they get a bullpen, they get a closer, and they can get to the playoffs. You'll see Ohtani shine. You know, look, he's just so good, and it's not even romanticizing baseball. Like everybody wants to see what's the next thing. Enjoy Ohtani while we have him, right? Like I feel like some people aren't appreciating what we have here. Yeah, you're going to be back. You're going to tell your grandkids down here, be like, I saw Ohtani play. You saw Ohtani play. I mean, bro, it's not romanticizing it. I mean, this guy is so valuable for a club, and you put him he's going to be a Dodger probably next year, right? Be a Dodger.
I don't know.
Who knows? But I'm just saying, like, I think you're downplaying what this guy, how valuable this guy is for a club, and he needs people around him too. You know, he's got Trout and Rendon, but you got to have some pitching too. So I don't know, man.
How many pitchers do you need around him to? I mean, it's like anything else. One guy, you give me one guy's value, and that's where I put it up. Once again, if I do percentages, if one guy is taking up 2 spots and he stinks at 2 spots at one point, he's 2 bad roster spots for a couple weeks, and your team gets stunk and it gets sunk.
Ohtani doesn't stink at 2 spots. First of all, yes, yeah, maybe
he hit like 179 and went 0 for 2 with a 9 ERA during that losing streak. We've done the numbers, Johnny. We've done the numbers.
I know, Townie, but every single, I mean, you're going to have you can say that about every player. They're going to have little phases where they struggle, right? Little times. When you look at the overall value.
Judge, the last 2 months of the season, when everybody on the Yankees went cold, Aaron Judge got hot and carried that team. He carried all 9 guys in the order basically for 2 months. You can't deny the data.
Well, and look, I think Judge was the MVP, obviously, and he was the MVP, right? Like he led that team. But I'm just saying, I don't know. It's just let's hold off on Ohtani, and this guy is doing things that no one will ever do again. And it's not romanticizing baseball. It's just saying the facts. This guy, he's going to be on a championship club at some point, and then are you going to climb aboard? And what do we need, Townie?
I'll make a bet with you that he's not.
You'll make a bet with me what?
He's not on a championship club.
I'm not saying now he is.
You got to remember when you come on A's Cast Live, you got opinions. I'll call you on it. I call Cody on it all. Cody owes me a steak dinner from last season. I'll call you.
I love it.
I don't play that you throw stuff out there and don't get called on it. You'll get called on it.
No. Hey, Tony, that's how I love it.
You'll have to back it up with a big restaurant bill. No, I mean, Ohtani is special. There's no question about it. But you know what? He's an Angel, so I'm not rooting for him. And I don't want to give my grandkids anything. And I got into this with the Angels writer for The Athletic. I started putting numbers to numbers, and he had to be like, well, everybody keeps coming back to me. Oh, it's historic. Yeah, it's historic. But unless you're on a lineup like the Dodgers, where you've got all these other pitchers to help you out. I mean, Johnny, we're talking about going to 6-man rotations. Do you realize how you're devaluing the starting pitcher and how often a certain pitcher pitches if he only goes once a week?
Yeah, no, you bring up a good point. I mean, that's probably where it's going with some teams, but yeah, I mean, that's part of it.
That's where tomorrow we're previewing the Fish. Sandy Alcantara, his value right now, Corbin Burns, their value as guys that can at least get you over 200 innings, over 30 starts. That's why Verlander has been so special, where Clayton Kershaw was years ago. If you realize a guy that's only given you 20-something starts and way less than 200 innings, I wonder what truly is the value. It's like last year we just talked about it. Getting Scherzer and DeGrom healthy. Well, they got swept in Atlanta at the end of the year with both Scherzer and DeGrom going, so they lost the division. Then Scherzer and DeGrom were healthy for the Padres, and the Padres swept them at Citi Field, and they're out of the playoffs. So what was great value?
I know, and it's a different game now, Townie. There's no question the way pitchers are used, it is different. I mean, look, Zach Greinke won. Wins are they look at wins differently now. Greinke won the Cy Young, winning 14 games or 13 games several years ago, right? So the way they place value, the way they look at pitchers is very different. I get that, but yeah, I mean, look, if you can get, as far as DeGrom goes, if you can get 23 or 24 starts out of him, if you would take it. You would take it. You would say, look, 23, 24 starts, stay healthy. DeGrom's going to do something, right? That's what it is now,
Yeah, if I was 6'4", I would have played quarterback at UCLA, but I wasn't 6'4".
That's true.
A lot of ifs, Johnny. You got a lot of ifs. There's a lot of ifs. And I'll tell you what about Greinke. Greinke's volume has got him to over a 70 WAR in his career, and it's going to put him in the Hall of Fame.
No, there's no question. No question. No, Zach Greinke's.
I think DeGrom's WAR is like, what, 40, 42, something like that?
Because right now, he's 34. There's still some time. 35?
Yeah.
Are you anti-DeGrom? You're not anti-DeGrom.
I'm a Jacob deGrom has thrown one minor league game already after signing the 5-year contract. I think it's going to be, oh my God.
43.8 WAR.
Oh, excuse me, 43. And he's 35?
Yeah, 30. He'll be 35 in June.
Yeah. How many starts has DeGrom had the last 3 years?
The answer is 38 over the last 3.
Yeah, that's what's tough. I mean, guy can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
Hey, catcher position right now. Pena going to see the guy that did the surgery on him on the wrist. I find it interesting. Like, Tyler is still there, but to me, Tyler is the future. And I want to see Tyler always get. So basically, people are like, is Soderstrom going to make the roster and he's going to be there? And I'm like, well, I mean, I would have him there as a backup catcher. I want him to play every day. What are you thinking?
Absolutely. I think you want to have Soderstrom play every day. What I think, and what do I know? But I think, and McCann's had a really good spring. You know, when they asked Kotze in the presser the other day, the best surprise at camp, he said Kyle McCann. And but I think Pozo is going to be the guy. Even he was sent out, but I think Pozo is going to be the guy if Pena can't go, because Pozo does have a little bit of experience. And I think he would back up Langoliers to start the year and that's just my opinion, what I know. But I think he'll be the guy if Pena can't go to back up Langoliers to start the year. A little experience, and pitchers like throwing to him, and it could be McCann, but I think McCann doesn't have the experience. Pozo, 74 big league at bats, I get that, but he has some experience up there in the big leagues, so I don't think he'll be overwhelmed or overmatched. Not that McCann would, but I think it's going to be Pozo.
Yeah, the backup catcher thing, to me, Tyler's got to play every day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's go down with Fran Reardon, play first base, play it every day, and when you do call him up, he's here to stay. There's no shuttle back to Vegas. You want Tyler to come here and never go back down again.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't think it does him good to back up and play every 3 or 4 days. Get him in Vegas, get him in rhythm, get him to play every day, get him to dominate the hitter-friendly Coast League. I mean, look, he's having a wonderful spring. Soderstrom is, and he's comfortable. You can tell he's comfortable up here. But get him to Vegas and get him ready. And because, as you said, he is the future. So he's a guy that's gonna mash up here eventually. Everybody believes, so yeah, I think that's the plan.
Yeah, because I want to see him take an off catcher because, I mean, we know, and we used to talk to Ray Fosse about this, the beloved Ray Fosse, all the time. I mean, catching just beats you up and it shortens your career. I mean, Tyler has the ability, it looks like, and Mike, when we did the interview with him, how much he's filled out since the last time we have seen him. I mean, he's just starting to grow into that body, and he's got that perfect size, and the body and the power are just going to get better. Like, I don't want to waste him getting beat up behind the dish.
Yeah, plus look, the A's have a really good catcher right now in Shea Langoliers, right? Like, you have who's got a great future, with the A's. So I do think that, yeah, that's a good call. I think Soderstrom, when he comes up, is going to be a first baseman and get him in the lineup every day. So I agree with you.
You got the red hot Kansas City Royals today.
Yeah. They've lost 3 in a row, but they're still 14-5. We got Stanford's Chris Bubich on the hill today. About 50-55 pitches. The A's have Waldichuk. I think Aller might go today. So so this should be fun today.
Have you heard anything about Blackburn's nail?
I have not. No, I have not. Just what you heard, just what from the presser. So I don't know how serious it is or what the deal is with that. But hopefully it's not too serious, because look, he could have been the possibility of being the opening day starter. So that's a setback if he isn't. So hopefully he's in here sooner rather than later. Love to have him back.
What has been your opinion on Waldichuk so far this spring?
Well, he's struggled with his command. He really has, just from what I've seen in the numbers but he just hasn't been able to kind of, and sometimes that happens in spring with guys, and then they figure it out as you get closer to the end of spring. But this is a big start for him as he's trying to, he wants to obviously break camp with the big club and maybe he does start in Las Vegas and gets locked in and then comes back up. But yeah, this is a big start for him because he hasn't showed the command through the first few starts that I'm sure he wants to and the A's want to see. So this is a big start for him. See what he can do throwing 55 to 60 pitches today.
And who are you with today?
The great one, Ken Korak.
Nice. So no Johnny Solo.
No Johnny Solo today. No, Ken Korak is with us today. And looking forward to calling some baseball with him. The Royals, who we saw earlier in the spring. So this is a surprise, nice ballpark, man. Really nice. I've never been up here. So, I mean, it's a haul, but it's good.
They played yesterday.
Who did? Kansas City? I know they played. It was strange. There was so much rain in the valley, but they were able to get it in. Yeah.
So we had to look it up. I didn't realize it's 50 miles from Ho-Ho Camp. So obviously it's it's a pretty good hike. We're like, how did they play and we got rained out?
Yeah, they were fine up here. I talked to Jake Eisenberg, the radio voice of the Royals, and he said, yeah, we were fine. We had some drizzles, but it disappeared. So they were good up here. We got poured. It poured last night here too in Arizona.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what's, they usually get like an inch or 2 inch. They're getting a lot more rain than they normally get. All right, it's time to play Know Your Royals with the great Cody, the Commander.
All right, Johnny, first question. Who was the last Royal to win the AL Cy Young Award?
That Greinke.
Yeah. That's Greinke 2009. That's correct. All right, follow-up question. How many times has a Royal won the AL Cy Young Award?
Oh, wow.
Well, you know Saberhagen did, obviously, and Greinke. I'm
one other guy, because Saberhagen did it twice. The answer is 4, so there's one other guy.
Oh, one other guy.
He was
Paul Splittorff. Who was it?
He was a hired gun during his day. He got traded to teams to win World Series.
Oh man! Oh my God!
Should be in the Hall of Fame.
He does television
for the Yankees.
Oh my God! Who do you got?
Started with the Mets.
Wait, isn't he on? He's on Sunday Night Baseball.
He's on Sunday Night Baseball.
Bro, I'm just blanking. I'm sorry.
It'd be David Cohn.
David Cohn did? Wow, that's right. Good for him.
The assassin, David Cohn. Remember, he would get traded to Toronto. He'd get traded to the Yankee. Yeah. I mean, you traded for David Cohn to win the World Series. But you got 2 out of the 3.
Okay. Who was the last Royal to win the AL MVP award?
Who am I?
Last Royal to win the most valuable. Is it Brett? Was it George Brett?
I was about to say, don't overthink it. The great Brett,
yeah.
I am the winningest manager in Royals history.
Pride of Sacramento.
Pride of Sacramento. It is
Pride of Sacramento.
Oh man. Dick Hauser. Dick Hauser.
Johnny, your hometown, baby.
I know, that's embarrassing. Not Dick Hauser, huh?
This was a layup.
This guy won a World Series with them. I don't know. It's 7 years ago. 8 years ago.
Pride of
Whitey Herzog. Just kidding. I'm kidding. Who is it?
Ned Yost.
Gosh. Oh God. So bad.
Pride of Sac, baby.
All right,
that's terrible.
It's a year. What year did Kauffman Stadium open?
Ooh, I was 1 year old.
Oh, well, by the way, happy birthday, Townie.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, happy birthday. You were 1. It was 19.
It's a year the A's won the World Series.
Oh, 1972. 1973.
There you go. So I don't think we'll talk to you till next next Monday because
Johnny's got the day off tomorrow.
Day off for
Johnny. Do we have the day off tomorrow?
No, we're off Monday.
We're off Monday?
Yeah, there's an off day for the team.
What?
Yeah, that's right.
So we'll talk to you when we play the Know Your Angels.
Know Your
Here we go, Townie. Here we go.
Halos. I'm coming strong at Rendon.
Every answer is going to be Mark Langston or Mark Gubazov.
I'm going to tell you why Trout's not a Hall of Famer. I'm going to be ripping Nolan Ryan, Tim Salmon. I'm coming after all those clowns.
All right, here we go.
Jim Edmonds. Who am I missing?
Troy Gloss.
Now, who is outfielder, left-hander?
Oh, Darren Erstad.
No, the one that killed us.
Did Darren Erstad?
No.
Garrett Anderson?
No. Yes, Garrett Anderson. I'm coming after all of them. I'm coming after Scotia. I'm crushing the Rally Monkey next time. Be ready for me to crush those a-holes down south.
Yeah, I'm no Angel fan. I'm no Angel fan.
This is no Disney anymore, my friend. We're not. This isn't a Disney prince. I'm coming after the Angels.
All right. All right, buddy. Good to see you guys.
Sweating. I'm so fired up right now. Let's go, Ace and Roy. This is a preview, right? This is the best team in the Cactus League right now.
14-5. Happy birthday, buddy. Happy birthday. Enjoy it.
Have a good weekend.
All right. Thanks. You too, brother.
Johnny D with the Hall of Famer Ken Korak right here on A's Cast Live. Yeah, I don't think people are ready for my anti-Angel hate. Everybody wants me to sit back and kiss the ring of Ohtani. Kiss the ring of Trout. I'm not doing it.
Who else is
Win something.
Who else?
Win something.
There's Tim Salmon. There's Darren Erstad.
Garrett Anderson was the one.
Sean Figgins.
Joan Figgins.
Don't forget. Don't you dare forget David Eckstein.
That's World Series MVP David Eckstein.
Good. He was a good player. But I mean, I guess is it insulting him by saying when we say good little player?
Say great career. He walked away with the Corvette. He won the MVP, if you remember, of that Cardinals World Series.
Last time I checked, he was working in the Pirates organization as a coach or something. He was. I don't know if he still is.
What's the big right-hander who's buddies with Millar, who was a rookie and started for the Angels in Game 7?
John Lackey.
Lackey pitched for the Red Sox.
Oh, don't you dare hate on Jared Washburn.
What about Troy Percival?
For a K-Rod.
K-Rod. Oh, I'm coming down K-Rod's road. What a bad guy he was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing but Angel hate on Tuesday. You guys all want to kiss their butts, tell them how great they are. I'm not in.
So today's game, you can listen. Coverage starts at 1 on AceCast, athletics.com/AceCast, and Bloomberg 960 AM. Tomorrow's game against the Giants will be on MLB.TV, athletics.com, NBC Sports app. So you can, and also AceCast and Bloomberg. So, but today, radio only, and streaming, AceCast and Bloomberg 960 AM against the Royals. I have the lineup. Nick Allen is short. Esty Ruiz is in center. Ramon in right. Brent Rooker, who could make the team at DH. Kevin Smith at third. Pache in left. Kyle McCann at catcher. Dermis Garcia back at first. And Pablo Reyes at second.
Yeah,
and Waldichuk on the mound.
You know, we're also going to be talking about, you see how much Shohei Ohtani strikes out?
Yeah, he does strike out a lot. He also strikes a lot of people out.
Yeah, but he only pitches 5 innings.
Yeah, well, 6-man rotation.
Yeah,
So
pitch 5 innings every 6 days.
I think we're going to have to talk about that tomorrow too, because A's are still going to use 6-man rotation and Blackburn's not in there. Okay, well, Waldichuk might be in the rotation by default.
How about Ohtani hitting 257 and 270? Oh my God, incredible! Overrated. 34 bombs, 95 RBIs, and strikes out 161 times.
That's a lot of strikeouts.
That's a lot of strikeouts. Yeah, I'm gonna do everything I can.
Trout strikes out a lot too, though.
Huh?
Trout strikes out a lot too.
He stinks.
I mean, there's a reason why they've never
Captain America now. The guy can't win a playoff game, and he's now Captain America.
But he put Team USA on his back and carried us to a win versus Colombia yesterday. I almost forgot who they played.
Guy's been to more Eagles playoff games than his own team's playoff games.
He's seen more Eagles playoff wins than he's seen wins in Angels playoff history.
It's not their fault. It's not Draymond's fault. It's not Shohei's fault. It's not Todd.
Don't get me started on. They lost another road game last night.
It's not their fault. It's not their fault. No, we're going to pay them all this money, but it's not their fault. No, this Angel Love Fest is over.
It's every year.
I will not stand for it.
Every year.
A's and Royals next, and we'll see you tomorrow right here on A's Cast Live.
It's that time of the year. Single game tickets are now on sale for the 2023 season. Secure your tickets for some of the biggest matchups, fireworks, drone shows, giveaways,